हेलो दोस्तों, वेलकम टू माय चैनल पीआर नॉलेज सेंटर। आप लोग का स्वागत है मेरे चैनल पे। आज लाई हूँ मैं विजन आईएएस नवंबर मंथ का करंट अफेयर, जो कि सिक्योरिटी के बारे में करेंगे। इसके पहले इकोनॉमी हो चुका है, इंटरनेशनल रिलेशन हो चुका है आपका, और पॉलिटी एंड गवर्नेंस हो चुका है। तो सिक्योरिटी आज हम करेंगे। तो चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं। स्टार्ट करने से पहले आप चैनल को लाइक से सब्सक्राइब जरूर करें। ओके, तो लेट्स स्टार्ट। सिक्योरिटी करेंगे हम। तो डिस्टरबेंस इन नेबरिंग नेशन एंड इंडियाज इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी। तो डिस्टरबेंस इन नेबरिंग नेशन की बात हो रही है, इंडियाज इंटरनेशनल सिक्योरिटी की, इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी की। वाई न्यूज रिसेंटली आफ्टर ए गन फाइट हुआ किसके बीच? म्यांमार आर्मी और प्रो डेमोक्रेसी militants. About 1,500 people sought refuge in Mizoram. कहाँ पर? यहाँ पर एक लगभग 1,500 people sought refuge in Mizoram, Champhai district. Backward of the civil war in Myanmar. Myanmar has been unstable since the military coup in February 2021, in which a democratically elected government led by the Nobel laureate Aung San Suu Kyi was unseated. The recent conflict was part of the ongoing civil unrest between the Myanmar army and ruling military junta and pro-democratic militants of the Brotherhood Alliance. तो यहाँ पर जो अलायंस है, द अलायंस इज कंप्राइज्ड ऑफ 3 एथनिक आर्म्ड ग्रुप. फर्स्ट, द म्यांमार नेशनल डेमोक्रेटिक अलायंस आर्मी एंड द तांग नेशनल लिबरेशन आर्मी एंड अराकन आर्मी. The attack are followed by the major coordinated attack on regime force by 3 ethnic armed group. Which group? Operation 1027. The UN stated around 2 lakhs have been displaced following the current hostilities. इंडिया का स्टैंड क्या है? एडवोकेट फॉर द सेसेशन ऑफ द हॉस्टिलिटीज and dialogues in Myanmar while continuing its security and cooperation with the junta to address insurgency. The regional instability caused by the conflict in the Myanmar has become a significant concern of India's internal security. Characteristic of India's neighborhood. First, diversity. It is highly diverse, having absorbed cultural, social, political, economical influence from far-flung region. Asymmetric. India and China are several times larger in population and size than any other country. Democracy. Democracy has taken root in India, but a task of the nation building is yet not complete in neighboring countries. Least integrated region. It is one of the world's least integrated region, despite numerous commonalities and complementaries. Influence and external power. External power have traditionally had a large influence on the development in region. इम्पैक्ट ऑफ द डिस्टर्बेंस इन द नेबरहुड ऑफ द इंडियाज इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी, मतलब जो पड़ोसी देशों में डिस्टर्बेंस है उससे इंडिया पे क्या इफेक्ट पड़ेगा. Illegal influx of the refugees. This may cause the unrest among the local population and raise the concern about the infiltration of the extremists and the smuggling of narcotics and weapons. Example: migration from Bangladesh during the Bangladesh Liberation War 1971 led to the ethnic clashes in region of the northeast India. This also happened during the Rohingyas crisis in Myanmar. तो पॉलिटिकल इंस्टेबिलिटी क्या होगी. पुअर लॉ एंड ऑर्डर इन नेबरिंग region facilitate the criminal activities such as drug trafficking, arms smuggling, and counterfeit currency etc. Example: there are apprehensions about the flourishing drug trade in the San state, known for narcotic production sneaking into India. Cross-border terrorism. India has faced persistent challenge related to the cross-border terrorism due to instability in the Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Myanmar. Example: terrorist organizations like the United Liberation Front Assam get safe haven in the Myanmar and Bangladesh due to the porous border and law and order situation in this country. And next, escalation of the internal conflict. Example: the influx and refugees in Manipur may heighten in the ethnic conflict between the Kuki and Meitei communities. Meitei people have accused the Kuki community, who have ethnic ties and Myanmar Chin state, of the sheltering their kins people from the Myanmar, which they feel will alter the demographic balance. India's engagement with its neighbor to bring peace. Joint military exercise to promote the exchange of ideas and jointly rehearse tactics, techniques and the procedures for the conducting tactical operations. An example: Sampriti exercise with Bangladesh and support democracy. Diaz has been a strong proponent of the democracy to give power to the people. Humanitarian aid. Indian disaster response capacities were rapidly and effectively deployed in response to the disaster, ranging from the tsunami in Sri Lanka and water crisis in Maldives to the earthquake in Nepal. And next, India Citizenship Amendment Act 2019 provided amnesty and fast track of citizenship for the certain refugees currently in India from the three neighboring countries. India is supporting more than 1 lakh Tibetan refugees and Central Tibetan administration based in the Dharmsala way forward to address threats due to the disturbance in the neighboring countries, strengthening the border security and checking the illegal migration, utilizing the democratic engagement and strengthening the illegal effort and holistically. Next is global nuclear regulations. Recently, the Russian parliament passed a bill revoking Russian ratification of the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty (CTBT). More about the news: the passage of the bill will mirror the stand taken by US, which has signed but not ratified the CTBT. The move has raised concern that Russia may resume nuclear tests to try to discourage the West from the continuing to far after military support of Ukraine. The incident sheds light on nuclear regulation and their efficacy across the globe. International regulation regarding nuclear regulations. Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty. It prohibits any nuclear weapon test explosion or any other nuclear explosion anywhere in the world. The treaty, adopted in 1996, cannot formally enter into force until it's ratified by the 44 specific nations, 8 of which have yet to do so: China, India, Pakistan, North Korea, Israel, Iran, Egypt, and United Nations. India did not sign the treaty due to the failure of the treaty include commitment by the nuclear weapon state to eliminate nuclear weapon within a time-bound framework. नॉन प्रोलिफेरेशन ट्रीटी 1968 जिसे एनपीटी बोलते हैं, इट इज एम टू लिमिटेड लिमिटिंग द स्प्रेड ऑफ द न्यूक्लियर वेपन थ्रू द थ्री पिलर ऑफ द नॉन प्रोलिफेरेशन एंड disarmament and peaceful use of the nuclear energy. India, South Sudan, Israel, and Pakistan have never been the signatories of the treaty, and North Korea withdrew from the treaty in 2003. India did not sign the treaty due to biased in divided world into the nuclear haves and nuclear have-nots. The International Atomic Energy Agency is entrusted with key verification responsibility under the treaty. Treaty of the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons (TPNW) is the first legally binding multilateral agreement to ban nuclear weapons. A United Nations treaty adopted in 2017 and come into the 2021. It is signed by 91 states and ratified by 68 states. India did not sign as the treaty does not constitute and contribute to the development of the customary international law or does not set any new standard for norms. Consider nuclear weapons free zones. It is a regional approach to strengthening the global nuclear non-proliferation and the disarmament norm of the consolidation while consolidating international effort toward peace and security. Presently, there are five treaties: Treaty of the Tlatelolco, Treaty of the Rarotonga for the South Pacific, and Treaty of the Bangkok for the Southeast Asia, Treaty of Pelidaba for Africa, Treaty of Semipalatinsk for the Central Asia. What is International Atomic Energy Agency? The genesis it is an autonomous organization that came into the force in 1957. Mandate it work in the safe, secure, and peaceful use of the nuclear science and technology. Member 178 country. India is also member of the International Atomic Energy Agency and functions encourage and assist the research, development, and practical application and atomic energy peaceful uses of thought throughout the world. Provide the independent international verification the government are abiding the commitment to the peaceful use of the nuclear technology. Enhance the national, regional, and internal capacities. Respond to nuclear and radiological incidents. What is Nuclear Supplier Group 1947-74? It was established after the India's nuclear test by the name of the Operation Smiling Buddha in 1975 and has the 48 members. It aims to prevent the nuclear export and commercial peaceful purpose from being used to make nuclear weapons. India wants NSC membership to enhance its nuclear power capacity and its need for raw nuclear material. Other treaties Missile Technology Control Regime. It is seeking to limit the risk of the proliferation of weapons of the mass destruction by controlling export and good and technologies that could contribute to deliver system. It has 35 members including India. Fissile Material Cut-off Treaty. It is proposed international agreement that would prohibit the production of two main components of the nuclear weapon, highly enriched uranium and plutonium. Other Outer Space Treaty. It prohibits the placing of nuclear weapon in space. India is a member of OST. Um, Effectiveness of the global nuclear regulations. Consensus building global consensus has been achieved of the IAEA stabilized safety standards against the harmful effect of the ionizing radiation. Reduction of world nuclear stockpile. Since its peak in the mid-1980s, global arsenals have shrunk by over three-fourths. More of countries have given up weapons and programs in past 30 years than have tried to acquire them. Peaceful use. It has been promoting peaceful use of nuclear technology for the energy production, medicine, agriculture, and research without diverting it for military purpose. Limited nuclear testing. North Korea is the only nation that has tested a nuclear weapon in 21st century. Mechanism of response to nuclear accidents. The IAEA helps maintain and strengthen effective emergencies preparedness and response capabilities on a national and international level against nuclear accident. Limitation of the global nuclear regulation. Inadequacies in verification. These have raised concern about the illicit trafficking in nuclear material and possibility of nuclear terrorism. The excess budget, personal resource and technological resource of IAEA fall short of what would be needed to effectively monitor and nuclear proliferation. Rapid advancement in nuclear technology. This includes new reactor design and fuel cycle pose challenge for regulation. It keeps pace with evolving risk. Non-compliance example: Iran has illegally engaged in the clandestine nuclear weapon program for many years, it violating of its obligations and under NPT as a state party. Limited focus on the department. Example: treaties like the NPT do not specify an end date of the achieving the disarmament and dual nature of the technology, lack of the commitment, this is lack of the trust among countries. This India's nuclear doctrine, building and maintaining the credible minimum deterrent. A posture of no first-use nuclear weapons will only be used in the retaliation against a nuclear attack on India's territory or India's force anywhere. Nuclear retaliation to first strike will be massive and designed inflict unacceptable damage. Nuclear retaliatory attack can only be authorized by the civilian political leadership through the nuclear command authority. Continued the commitment to the goal and nuclear weapon free world thought and global, verifiable, and non-discriminatory nuclear disarmament. Way forward: increasing the IAEA budget and reforming its safeguard security and personal system. IAEA can regulatory revive and adopt the ADAS evolving the challenge and technological advancement. Negotiate the new age non-discriminatory nuclear arm control treaties that aim toward complete nuclear disarmament. Revisit the safeguard and constant place on the production of the fissile material and role of UNHCR. Related news you can read now. Space warfare. China has reportedly established the world first near space command equipped with powerful hypersonic weapons. And more about the news, the new command will act as China fifth force, apart from the four current branches: Army, Navy, Air Force, and Rocket Force. Near space, it refers to the area Earth atmospheric approximately 2200 kilometers from the Earth's surface. In this region, the air is very thin, preventing military aircraft from the flying, and satellite can't be placed due to strong gravity, creating no man lands region. The near space command will be equipped with modern hypersonic missile to target critical military assets of enemies. Hypersonic missiles are projectiles that can move at a speed of at least Mach 5 times the speed of sound. Such missiles can operate in near space due to the rarefied atmosphere, enabling them to fly at a hypersonic speed for long range. They are far difficult to be detected by radar system and to be destroyed by the defense shield. Spy balloons, solar powered drones and other supporting equipment to carry out high altitude surveillance and around the globe. The command highlights the emergence of space as the fourth dimension of warfare. Know the term. Militarization of the space it refers to the use of space in support of ground, sea, and air-based military operations. It helps improve the command and control of communications and strategies and battlefield surveillance and weapon targeting. Special weaponization it refers to the placement in the orbit of the space-based devices that have destructive capacity. Through this outer space itself becomes the battlefield and emerges at the fourth frontier of war. About space warfare. Advanced space warfare began in 1962 that US exploded a ground-based nuclear weapon in space which eventually led to the Outer Space Treaty in 1967. Earth-to-Space kinetic weapon include the direct ascent and briefly orbital anti-satellite weapon which is a warhead of the projectile that directed strike detonates near the target of spacecraft Earth-to-Earth space known as now. We space in the emerging the next battleground of wars. Satellites are critical component with state and national infrastructure. Example, India has two dedicated military satellites, GSAT-7 Rukmini and GSAT-7A Agri Bird. Absence of a comprehensive international agreement and regulation of governing military activities in space. Example treaty like the Outer Space Treaty 1967 prohibit the weapon of mass destruction in the space but don't explicitly limit other kind of space weapon test on military space force. Rapid development in the space technology and tech of the transparency dual use in nature and countries are investing the weaponization and space create deterrence and creating the dedication space process in countries like USA, France, Japan, etc. preserve the strategic interest and global framework for maintaining the peace in space. Outer Space Treaty 1976 it is the basis on the international space law and prohibit the placement of weapon mass and destructional in outer space. India is the signatory to this treaty and ratified its 1982 liability convention 1972. It outlined the liability of the launching state damage caused by the space object both on earth in space and Convention on Registration of the Object Launched into Outer Space 1975. The convention required spacefaring nations to register their space object with the UN. Moon Agreement 1979 it stated that the moon and other celestial bodies should be used exclusively peaceful purpose and their environment should not be disrupted. Partial Test Ban Treaty it prohibits all testing of nuclear weapons in outer space. Concern associated with space warfare, arms race of the space weapon, and potential destruction of the expensive and critical space infrastructure, space debris, and concern all other. Challenge in India: limited budgetary allocation, limited indigenous technologies for the detections of the threat, protection, and offensive operation in space. Absence of defense of space strategy, low focus on the military application of space technology. India's steps developing capabilities in space. Defense Space Agency created in 2019, supported by the Defense Space Research Organization, and has been tasked with operating the space warfare and satellite intelligence set of India. Defense Space Research Organization was created to facilitate the development of the civilian space technology for military purpose. Mission Shakti, India's anti-satellite missile test 2019 is successfully demonstrated its capability to indirect and intercept a satellite in outer space based on complete indigenous technology. InSpaceX, it is India's first ever simulated space warfare exercise conducted in 2019. It assessed the requisite space and counter space capabilities that are needed by India to protect its national security interest. Mission Deep Space was launched to make India Atmanirbhar in defense technologies in space domain. Way forward for maintaining peace in space. Develop. comprehensive international organization agreement with features such as the robust verification mechanism on the deployment of space weapons and the principle of non-interference in the sovereign space such as proximity rules on how close satellite can maneuver to each other and mechanism of data sharing and cooperation in the removal of space debris itself. Adopting the prevention of arms race in outer space, it is UN resolution seeking a ban of the weaponization of space. Creating an international organization and expertise and credibility in outer space issues to regulate the behavior of state and non-state actors in space. News in short, ship hijacked in Red Sea. India-bound cargo ship hijacked by Houthi rebels in Red Sea. Saudi-led coalition in an alliance of the 9 countries from the West Asia and North Africa, led by the South Arabia, termed as an act of the armed group in piracy. The ship is called Galaxy Leader in British-owned and Japanese operation and was heading from Turkey toward the Paipa Wave, Gujarat. The hijacking occurred approximately 150 km off the coast of the immense port city of the Hadida, near the coast of the Eritrea. The Red Sea is a narrow strip and water extending the southward from the Suez Canal to Bab el Mandeb Strait, which connect with the Gulf of Aden and then with the Arabian Sea. Important Red Sea trade route. It is a crucial route of international trade and energy shipment. Around 93 to 100% of Arab countries' total exports pass through it. Approximately 100 of the seaborne cargo sail through the Red Sea, including most of the Asian trade in Europe. Both the US and China have naval bases. Djibouti, which point toward the geostrategic importance of the region. Challenge of piracy. Piracy can deter trade along key global shipping choke point and disrupt the critical supply chain. Strong nexus with local mafia group, illegal trafficking, or even terrorism. Higher cost rises ships divert around piracy area, requiring extra fuel and increasing the shipping insurance and premium etc. Piracy poses a significant risk in sellers that shipping the industry and coastal state that border the piracy and prone zone. About Houthi rebels. Rebel group in civil war with Yemen government ruling northern Yemen and Houthi support Hamas and Hezbollah backed by Iran. Project Kusa. The Defense Ministry has accorded acceptance of the necessity for the development of the indigenous long-range surface-to-air missile defense system. About the Project Kusa, the project is designated under the purview of the Defense Research and Development Organization and aimed to operationalize it by 2028 to 29. Currently, India possesses Russian S-400 in defense system of the safeguarding in the airspace. You can read now. And prisoner's dilemma. Defense Minister referred to the concept of prisoner dilemma in his address in the Goa Maritime Conclave. About prisoner dilemma, prisoner dilemma referred to one of the most popular games in the game theory. It is a paradox in decision analysis, and two individuals acting in their own self-interest do not produce the optimal outcome. The best outcome lies in the cooperation. Game theory, it is the science strategies and attempt to determine the mathematically and logically the action that players should take to secure the best outcome of themselves. Military exercise in news. Kachin 2023, it is annual India-Kazakhstan joint military exercise. Mitra Shakti 2023, it is joint military exercise between the India and Sri Lanka. Exercise Vajra Prahar, it is the joint exercise conducted between the India Army and US Army Special Force. नाउ हिंट मतलब खत्म हो गया आपका सिक्योरिटी। नाउ कैसा लगा बताइएगा जरूर, अगर पसंद आता है तो वीडियो लाइक शेयर सब्सक्राइब करिए। मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में नेक्स्ट न्यूज के साथ, तब तक ले जाए।